What if a single construction project could potentially disrupt the lives of millions and the ecosystems they depend on? It's a question we may need to ask ourselves in light of Cambodia's Southern Canal project. This isn't just any run-of-the-mill construction. This is a project of massive scale, one that could change the landscape of Southeast Asia in more ways than one. The Southern Canal, as it's currently envisioned, is an ambitious undertaking by Cambodia. Its purpose? In a nutshell, it's all about economic enhancement. The canal would serve as a new trade route, opening up possibilities for more efficient transportation of goods between different parts of the region. Think of it as a shortcut, a quicker way to get from point A to point B, and in the world of commerce, time is money. But it's not just Cambodia that has a stake in this. The Mekong River, which the canal would intersect, is a shared resource among several countries. It flows through China, Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, and Vietnam before reaching Cambodia. Each of these nations has a relationship with the Mekong, relying on it for things like agriculture, fishing, and even hydroelectric power. With the Southern Canal in place, this river, a lifeline for millions, could see significant changes. Now, it's important to note here that economic progress isn't inherently a bad thing. It can lead to improvements in quality of life, create jobs, and stimulate growth. But as with any large-scale development, there are trade-offs. The question we need to ask is, are we ready to bear the costs that come with the benefits? What happens when the pursuit of economic growth intersects with the need to maintain ecological balance? But what are the potential negative impacts of such a massive project? Let's delve into the details. Imagine the Mekong River, a lifeline for millions, suddenly changing its course. This could be the reality if the Southern Canal in Cambodia is built. This massive construction project could drastically alter the flow of the Mekong River. And, as you can guess, such a change would have profound effects on the freshwater ecosystems that depend on the river. The Mekong River is a hub of biodiversity, teeming with a multitude of species, many of which are found nowhere else in the world. This rich tapestry of life is delicately balanced, dependent on the river's natural flow. But if the Southern Canal changes the river's course, this balance could be upset, leading to a possible loss of biodiversity. And the loss of even a single species could send ripple effects throughout the ecosystem, disrupting the balance of life in and around the river. But it's not just the wildlife that would be affected. The human communities that depend on the Mekong River would also feel the impact. Many of these communities rely on fishing and agriculture for their livelihoods, both of which are intimately tied to the river's health and flow. Changes in water flow could lead to changes in fish populations, affecting the catch for local fishers. Similarly, changes in the water's nutrient content could affect crop yields, potentially threatening the food security of these communities. And let's not forget about the cultural importance of the Mekong. For many communities, the river is more than just a resource. It's a part of their cultural identity. Changes to the river could therefore have deep cultural implications as well. So, the environmental impacts are significant, but what about the geopolitical implications? Water is a source of life, but it can also be a source of conflict. Imagine a river, flowing freely, providing sustenance to those along its banks, a lifeline that ties nations together. But what happens when this lifeline becomes a point of contention? This is the scenario we're looking at with the proposed Southern Canal in Cambodia, a project that could intensify geopolitical tensions among the Mekong countries. The Mekong River, a shared resource, has been a symbol of cooperation among these nations for many years. But the construction of the Southern Canal could disrupt this harmony. It's like a game of chess, where every move can drastically change the dynamics of the board. So, how does this tie into geopolitical tensions? Well, it's all about water rights. Who gets to use the water and how much of it? These are questions that have been asked for centuries and are now taking on a new significance in the context of the Southern Canal. The canal could potentially reduce the volume of water flowing downstream, affecting the other Mekong countries. This raises several issues: the right to access water, the right to control its flow, and the right to benefit from its resources. It brings to light the delicate balance of shared resources and the potential for disputes when this balance is disrupted. Such disputes could have far-reaching effects on regional stability. They could strain diplomatic relations, create economic rifts, and even, in the worst-case scenario, lead to conflict. It's a ripple effect, where the ripples could potentially turn into waves, threatening the peaceful coexistence of these nations. What happens when the food supply of millions is at risk? Picture this: the Mekong River, a lifeline for millions. The river's flow, its rhythm, its energy, is a cornerstone for food security in the region. The ebb and flow of this mighty river fuels the agriculture that feeds millions. Rice, the staple food for a large part of Southeast Asia, relies heavily on the waters of the Mekong. The river's bounty doesn't stop at rice. It supports a myriad of other crops, fisheries, and livestock. But what happens when you change the rhythm of this lifeline? The proposed canal could drastically alter the Mekong's flow. It's like changing the beat of a song while everyone is still dancing. The crops, the fish, the livelihoods that depend on the river's natural rhythm could be thrown off balance. Lower water levels could lead to reduced crop yields. This isn't just about numbers on a page, it's about food on the table. And when crop yields go down, food availability follows suit. It's a domino effect. Fewer crops mean less food. Less food means higher prices. Higher prices mean that the most vulnerable are hit the hardest. The very rhythm of life, the beat of survival, is at stake. And let's not forget the fisheries. The Mekong River is home to one of the world's most productive inland fisheries. A change in the river's flow could disrupt fish migration patterns, threatening an essential protein source for millions. The threat to food security is not an abstract concept. It's a real, tangible danger. It's the threat of empty bowls and hungry bellies. It's the threat of livelihoods lost and communities destabilized. The threat to food security is indeed alarming. So what does all this mean for the future? The Southern Canal project is a complex issue with far-reaching implications. As we've seen, the potential impacts are numerous and significant. This is not just a matter of constructing a canal, but a question of the future of the Mekong and its surrounding communities. Let's recap what we've discussed. First, there are serious environmental concerns. The canal could lead to massive deforestation, destruction of habitats, and loss of biodiversity. It could disrupt the Mekong's ecosystem, endangering countless species and altering this mighty river forever. Second, we've explored the geopolitical tensions that such a project could stir. The Mekong is shared by multiple countries, and any significant alteration to its flow could spark disputes and strain relations. It's not just about water. It's about power, sovereignty, and the delicate balance of regional cooperation. Third, we've delved into the threats to food security. The Mekong River is a lifeline for millions, providing water for agriculture and fisheries. Any disruption could jeopardize these vital resources, threatening livelihoods and food supplies. Before proceeding with such a massive project as the Southern Canal, it's crucial to conduct comprehensive impact assessments, considering all these aspects. It's not enough to assess the economic benefits alone. The social, environmental, and political costs must also be weighed. Moreover, cooperation among Mekong countries is paramount. This river is a shared treasure, and its future should not be decided unilaterally. Dialogue, transparency, and mutual respect must guide any decisions about its fate. The future of the Mekong is at stake. It's a future that deserves careful consideration, not just for the millions who depend on this river, but for the health of our shared planet. As we look ahead, let's remember that the Mekong is more than a river. It's a testament to the interconnectivity of life, a reminder of our shared responsibility to protect our planet, and a symbol of the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.